All right, folks, welcome back to this week's edition of the Coach Adkins Show. I've got the star of the show with us, as always. Coach Adkins is here. Coach, let's talk about last week just real quickly. We talked a lot about it after the post game, but for our viewers on the Coach Adkins Show, talk about the execution, the game plan. We thought from the booth it was just an excellent effort all the way around. Just kind of give us a recap on what might have been the conference championship game last week.
Yeah, no, again, can't say enough great things about our staff and our kids for putting together the game plan and then our kids to go out and execute it. I felt very good about the game plan that our staff came up with. We were going to try to force them to run the football by giving them light boxes. Man pressing their wideouts. They hadn't seen any DBs be physical with them yet all year. So we wanted to show some physicality, but then again, to respect them because they're that good of wideouts, we had to have help over the top as well. So we kind of challenged our box guys, to tell them we're going to force them to run the football. And when they do, you got to make sure that we're still sound and still making plays. And again, our kids certainly did that. And then we flip over to the offensive side, and that the game plan probably wasn't to only throw it 16 times. But if you rewind to last year in the second half, we didn't throw it one time in the second half. So we were prepared to run it as much as we did. And then again, we saw some things that we liked. Then it became the control the time aspect. Keep the ball out of their offense's hands. We ultimately ran it maybe a little bit more than we initially wanted to, but a credit to our kids to get the job done, our coaches to be able to make that adjustment. And then lastly, let's talk about special teams. I mean, one of the biggest key factors in that win, Javon's block punt, Jackson Davis always kicking it away from their heroes and essentially not giving them any sort of return as the kid who caught it, went down every time, and so they got the ball on their 35. And then certainly the fourth down fake punts. I mean, just incredible job by our program. I told the kids that after the game. That was a program win. You can go back and watch all the highlights, and every single time that there's a big play on either side of the ball, our entire bench was locked in, being great teammates. Channing Byers kind of leads that. He was awesome on the sideline on Friday night, just keeping guys, keeping the energy up on the sideline, and then certainly, that spilled over into the field of guys continuing to make plays. So can't say enough great things about that performance. But as I've said many, many times this week, no one cares about it except for us in Mount Zion, truthfully. I definitely know Mount Zion surely doesn't care. So we got our hands full this week.
Yeah, that's a great segue into this week. We've got another Apollo Conference matchup with Effingham. How do you get the guys up coming in? They're coming off a really impressive win against Taylorville last week. Effingham, a little bit different look than Mount Zion, a little bit more run than pass. So totally different preparation, I'm sure. Talk about Effingham and what challenges they bring.
Yeah, completely different style of play than what we saw last Friday. And truthfully, they're probably the best 3-3 team that I've seen in a long time. If we want to, talk about the facts, the fact of the matter is they're probably 2 plays away from being 5-1, just like we are, and undefeated in the conference. They let one slip away at Charleston on a close loss where they had a few too many turnovers there late in the game, and when they were driving to score. So you take those back, that's a different outcome. And then a double overtime loss by 1 point to a Mount Carmel team, the history of Mount Carmel football. And again, for Effingham to be in that game, and again, probably 1 play away from winning that. They should be 5-1, and there's no doubt. They know that they still have a shot for the conference title if they take care of business these next few weeks. They don't care that we beat Mount Zion and that we're in the driver's seat. They don't care that we haven't lost at home in forever. They don't care about any of that. They're going to show up. They're going to try to ruin our senior night. They're going to try to keep fighting for their playoff hopes and certainly their conference hopes as well. it's going to be a dogfight for 4 quarters. They play fast. They play physical. They're tough, hard-nosed kids. They're never going to quit. Again, they're going to give us a physical war for 4 quarters, and we're going to have to match that mindset, that mentality, and that physicality for all 4 of them. If we do that, again, I love our game plan. I love our kids are gamers. They show up on Friday nights to play, and I think that they truly know what's at stake here. We've told them, you win this game, you locked up the conference title. That's how important it is to us. Our seniors have only lost 1 time on this field, and that was their very first game when they were freshmen. They haven't lost since, and I don't want them to end their senior night on it with a loss either. And I know that they don't either. Again, our kids are going to come ready to play. Should be a great atmosphere for senior night.
You talked about locking up the conference championship. You're also locking up the guarantee for playoffs if you win Friday night. Talk about playoff eligibility. Do you start thinking about seeding? How much do you focus on that looking ahead to the playoffs, or are you going to give me some coach speak about week to week? It's fine. You could do that too. This is your show.
Yeah, even when I was a player, like I love looking at playoff outlooks. I love looking at the projections that Susie posts out every week. That's just fun to me, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything because teams still have to win, right? And that's kind of I don't get involved too much of it speaking to the kids because again, we still got a job to do. We got to take care of business. So I don't look ahead with the team as far as that's concerned. But what I will tell you is, and the kids know, if we take care of business these next couple of weeks, Friday night's not going to be our last opportunity to play at home. And so I have preached to them that, just about the opportunity to host another playoff game and how special that would be. But again, we certainly got to take care of business, and it starts with a really tough Effingham ball club coming into town tomorrow. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I think it's important to balance both as a coach, and you do a great job of that. We talk about the seniors. This is senior week. It's not just senior night. Talk about some of the ways you honor them throughout the week, and also kind of highlight some of those guys. 13 of them, you said earlier. Talk about some of them, or talk about the group as a whole, what they mean to this program.
Absolutely, and that's I love this week, but I hate this week, right? Like it's an emotional week. I know that their clock is ticking and the end is near, and that's always emotional because you never want to see them go, right? Because, I mean, they are our family. I've gotten a chance to be around these kids since they were freshmen and watch them grow all the way through. We started with 16 of them back when they were freshmen, and that was during the COVID year, and what a whirlwind that was. But again, those kids, that's just who they are. They continue to stick with it, fight through all of that adversity. Again, not only the 16 kids, but then dealing with COVID and all the stuff that we had to deal with. But again, they're such a special group, and one of the major reasons why our program has been what it's been these last couple years. They continue to buy in. They live the core values, and I couldn't be happier or proud of them for all of their accomplishments. You know, we say a lot of names, you know, all the time about Jack and Luke and obviously Braden, and I could go on for days about all the names. Colby played a great game Friday. Majors has been, I could go on and on. But, you know, there are some names behind the scenes that we don't talk about enough, in my opinion, and I get it. They don't necessarily have the stats or whatnot, but again, they're what a huge part of our program that they are. So I'd like to shout those guys out right now. We can start with DeAndre Huey. Again, DeAndre, 4-year Blue Dot member, great kid. Unfortunately, has kind of battled some injuries this year, but that hasn't changed him one bit. He comes to practice every single day with a smile on his face, and he's dancing. The kids love when he's dancing the music. I mean, he makes bus rides fun. He makes the locker room fun. He's just a great kid to be around. And again, I hate that he's dealt with some injuries this year to kind of keep him off the field. but couldn't be more proud of him, and again, thankful and happy to have him in the program for 4 years. Trevor Coit is another one who, again, we don't necessarily mention his name that much. 4-year player on the offensive line. We've had some really good offensive linemen these last several years. So again, Trevor might not have gotten the playing time that he maybe thinks he should get or deserve or whatever, but that hasn't phased Trevor. Trevor, again, is going to be a program guy. That's how special he is. He's got a nickname, and I'll let the kids tell you what that nickname is, and there's a reason behind it. But again, he's going to make Thursday night team meals pretty fun, even if he does have to run around the school. But again, just a great kid, and so proud of his effort for these 4 years, and he's been awesome. So next, Lucas Allstetter, probably the littlest guy on the team, but the biggest heart, man. I mean, he always jokes around. He asked me on Monday, he said, Coach, I see that my name is not next to the starting quarterback spot this week. I mean, he's that kind of kid, right? He's such a great kid and works incredibly hard. We were joking this morning. We did spot on. You asked about what we do for this week as seniors. Thursday morning, we let each senior take us through a spot on the field that's kind of sentimental and special to them, and just truly what that spot means to them. And he took us to a spot this morning and talked about that was his first varsity interception and happened to come against Q&D. And the funny part about that was he got in for the very last play at Q&D this year and ultimately had an interception. So just love that kid to death, man. Again, littlest kid, but the biggest heart and just so fun to be around and definitely gonna miss him. Gage Decker is another one who, again, he filled in for us and started a couple games for us this year due to some kind of injuries or whatever that we had there in the secondary. And, again, did a great job. He's never going to complain. He's always going to understand his role and get the job done. He's been instrumental for us this year on special teams. And, again, I know that maybe we don't call his name all the time, but just what he does and the effort that he gives on kickoff and the way he flies down the field. And again, he's the first guy to volunteer to go out on a scout team if we need to get a good look. And that's something, I mean, you can't teach a kid to do that. They either have it or they don't. And again, to be a senior and maybe not get the reps that he feels he should have gotten this year, you wouldn't know it. Because again, the attitude that kid comes to practice with, we were joking this week, he was dancing around, when we're stretching, and that's him, right? That's Gage. Gage is the goofy, funny kid that again, everybody loves to be around, and certainly going to miss Gage. Riken Kirby is another one who unfortunately, we don't call his name enough or that much. This is how versatile Riken is for us. Riken is one of the very few, if not the only players that we have in our program that actually plays on both sides of the ball. Riken plays running back for us. Unfortunately, backs up a 4-time starter, a kid that's going to go down in the history books for rushing here at this school, and Luke Johnson. So unfortunately, Riken's behind him. But then he also plays linebacker for us as well. And again, when we need him or when his time is called, he's going to get in there and he's going to give us the best effort that he's got and certainly try to get the job done. And again, just can't say enough great things about Riken, the player, but then more so the person. Again, incredible athlete, awesome on the track. He's a great track star. He can fly. And certainly we use that with him on special teams. Again, there's another kid that's probably on almost every single special teams that we have, just continuing to give great effort. And man, I love seeing Riken in his blonde hair every day. And he's always going to have a smile on his face, and certainly going to miss being around Riken. And I don't ever want to end because, again, I could go on for days, but if I could pick one more kid that maybe we don't, say his name enough, probably Evan Anderson. Again, Evan is a kid who all through summer and even the start of the year didn't have a starting spot on this team, on this defense. Played a little bit of quarterback his freshman year, ended up getting hurt, had to sit out the rest of the year, then really just didn't have a position, right? And a little bit of wide out, a little bit of DB, right? We were kind of feeling like, where's he going to fit best for him and for us? And again, Evan just came to work each and every single day with an incredible mindset and attitude. Again, whether it was on scout team or whether it was, out there with the first group, he was going to give it his all. He's an incredible young man. Again, one of the best kids that you'll ever find or that you can ever be around. And because of his hard work and essentially never giving up and never quitting and never letting anything affect him like that, he found his way into the starting role there, about week 2 and hasn't looked back since. He's absolutely taken the reins and he's done a great job for us at corner. Again, you saw last week, he was tasked with facing their fastest kid, and I think he held him maybe 1 or 2 catches, and that's awesome. Again, Evan might not be the biggest kid, but he's going to play like he's 6'4". That's the heart and effort that kid comes to work with each and every day. So we got 13 of them total, and unfortunately, I know it's my show, but I don't have enough time to talk about all of them. I know you guys do a great job of talking about the majority of the others, but at the end of the day, it's a great class, certainly going to be missed. I think the thing that I love most about them as a group, as a class, was, coming into this year, I truly don't think anybody, maybe outside of that locker room, gave these guys a chance. Everybody wanted to talk about the seniors last year that graduated and they're moving on, and maybe this class wasn't that good when they were freshmen, and all these question marks, right? And this is just such a gritty group of kids that they viewed that as a challenge. And again, it pushed them, motivated them even more. Again, we got incredible leadership out of these guys. Certainly going to be missed. Can't say enough great things about this group, but we did take this week to honor them and started Tuesday with the senior call-outs. They get a call-out, another player in our program. It's kind of like a one last time of board drills, or they can go one-on-one, wide out versus DB. My favorite was Luke Johnson calling out his little brother. I always love it when we got siblings in the program, right? Luke's probably, if he did it at home, mom and dad would probably be mad, but he could do it out here one last time in a board drill. And then Wednesday, we always finish Wednesday practice with what we call the senior hit day, and ultimately the seniors get in the line, and each and every kid on our varsity team goes through, kind of sentimental from the movie Rudy, right? He got his last hit as he walked off the practice field, and we tell him, your last hit might be a high five, it might be a fist pound, it might be a hug, or it might be a little shot, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a thank you. So that's always a very special and emotional day. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we end the week on Thursday morning run through with our senior spot day, and they take us to a spot that means so much to them that they're never going to forget about playing on Frank Dutton Field. And so that's always sentimental as well. And then we'll end with my favorite moment of the week, and that's after the game, when we walk the field together one last time. And again, just my time to say thanks for everything. And it does get a little emotional, but like I tell them all the time, it's goodbye. It's not, it's see you later. It's not goodbye, because I do want to see them later. And that's what I love, the fact, alumni come back, and so many of them have came back this year, and I get to see them on the track. And I'll get that with these guys too, years down the road. But knowing that this might be their last game on Frank Dutton Field it's going to be a special night for sure.
Well, we're looking forward to that family strong atmosphere on Friday night. It is a special event post-game. We'll stick around for it so you all can see it at home. Coach, we're excited for it. We're excited to celebrate these seniors, hopefully with a big W, and move forward into the playoff eligibility. That's it for this week's Coach Adkins Show. We'll see you next time.